Well, hello there, my fellow DIYers. This is Erin Glenn, the Aimless Squirrel. I'm participating in this month's 5 Under 5. This month's theme is Easter. Now, usually I try to come up with 5 things that all kind of go together, like they look nice together. That's not what happened this month. My 5 things are Easter springy. They're not even necessarily Easter, they're really just more springy. Although, yes, it's different. Easter and spring aren't the same, obviously, but the images that pop into my head when I think of spring are the Easter ones and vice versa. So it just all kind of goes together in my head, I guess. So, like I said, they don't really go together. So, and I have actually already put a few things in my booth, so I don't have like an overall picture of all 5 of them either. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to stop rambling and we're just going to go ahead. And this is the longest introduction I think I've ever done. So we're just going to go ahead and get into these projects. All right. Okay, so I had already previously completed this one. These are just berry baskets. There were a set of 3 for like $4 or $5, and I got them 75% off at Hobby Lobby. Okay, so this next one I'm just doing that barely there purple paint, like it's barely even purple. It's almost white, and it was so pretty. I loved the way that the wood grain still showed through. It was just so pretty. Well, I painted just kind of that outside that bottom part and let it dry. I was going to go back and paint later, and I went back and did that, and then you'll see in a second I painted it a different color. So I had to go back and paint over the bottom part then in the darker purple because that's just how I am. So my original plan was to stamp. I was going to do a cute little bunny stamp that you'll see in a second. And it didn't fit. It was too big. So then I was going to do the chick. And then for some reason I decided against the chick, and I really wish I had done that. But anyway, I decided on doing more transfers from the 49 and Market packet that I have. My plan was that leaf and then like a butterfly's landing on the leaf and then one beside it. From a distance, that's not what it looks like. Anyway, I stuffed it full of some greenery, those little fake spindle carrots. I also thought that I would go ahead and throw in some really cute easy Easter decor into this video. So this is just a sifter with some fake lavender from Walmart. This is a neat Italian jar that I thrifted with some moss and some greenery and some Dollar Tree eggs in it. So there's just a couple easy ideas for decor. Alrighty guys, this is a super easy, super cheap riser. So I got these 4 seal decoration things at a thrift store. I paid 83 cents for the 4 of them. Not each, for all 4 of them. And I decided when I saw them, I saw legs. So I took them apart. Oh, sorry. And then this is Brazilian ash. It is usually used for decking from what I've read. And you're kind of getting the idea there. So, like I said, when I saw those, I saw feet. So I decided I would take them apart. I kept the metal and the little birdies because I thought I might use them for something else eventually. No ideas yet. So, if you think of something. All right. And I did sand down the wood a bit. I wanted to soften the edges. And I did kind of go over the whole thing. I'm going to paint it in celery chalk paint from Waverly. I tried to combine celery and Waverly and it came out weird. Anyway, I'm going to leave the feet the color because that color is, well, it was pretty anyway, but it just looks so pretty with that green, as you'll see at the end. So I did 1 coat. I did hit it with the heat tool to make it dry a little faster. And then I gave that a very gentle sanding to smooth everything out. And then I repeated that. So I did 2nd coat and dried it. And then gave it a very gentle sanding. Now the 2nd sanding, I did go through around the edges and a few other spots and let some of the wood come through a little bit to give it just a little bit of an aged look. And I'm using one of these, I think they're carpenter square maybe, to mark where I want to put the feet. So I just kind of made a little corner there in each corner. I made a corner in each corner. And that's where the feet are going to go. Doesn't that look so pretty with that green? It's just so soft and so springy. It's just so pretty. All right, so then I used wood glue, and I do try and clean up the glue because it does ooze out a bit. And I don't show it in here, but once I put some heavy things on top of it and just let it completely dry. And then as I was looking at it, it was kind of crooked. It's a little wobbly. So I put some feet on the bottom, which I was going to do anyway, little foam feet. But I put some extra on one of them to even them out. And that seemed to work. It's just so pretty, guys. In less than $2. You can't beat that. Okay, moving along, I found this little tiered tray, little spinny tiered tray at Dirt Cheap. It originally was a Target dollar spot thing. I think it was $5, so I think I paid $1 for it. I had this ribbon. I've had it for probably a decade. I'm not even kidding. It's metal ribbon from Hobby Lobby. You can get them 40% off. And I painted this with Waverly White chalk paint. I left the black. I just painted the wooden part. And I did go ahead and paint underneath as well, just to, you know, you never know when the bottom might show, I guess. I did 2 coats on the top and the sides for both tiers. And there was a little textured sort of on the side, so I did kind of have to blot it in and then swipe it, and so it was a little bit of a labor of love, but it really wasn't too bad. I did give it a very, very gentle sanding just to kind of smooth it out. And then I initially tried to put it on with super glue. I think if I weren't in kind of a hurry, had a little bit more patience, this probably would have been fine. But it wasn't. I also, on this one, I did go ahead and cut the ribbon to the right size first, and didn't do such a great job of that either. So what I actually, to cut the ribbon, I just folded it back and forth, so it really wasn't cutting. But some of the super glue stuck, and then I couldn't get any of the rest of it to stick. So I did move on to hot glue, and here I am with terrible lighting trying to do the bottom part. I also decided that I was not going to try and get the ribbon, the metal ribbon, the correct size first. You can see all my mess on the bottom. And so I just cut it after it was all glued on. Here it is, all done. The top part has a gap and the bottom actually overlaps a little bit, but it's fine. It is really cute, and it definitely has kind of an Eastery vibe to me. I'll probably use it all spring and summer. I'm not sure about the winter and fall yet, though. We'll just see. And I kind of thought that the turquoise insulator kind of had a springy kind of vibe. And, you know, I had, you know, turquoise eggs. So I stuck all my purples and greens in there, and then a few other eggs. And then I made these wooden spindle carrots a while back, and I put those on there too. So there it is, all decorated and done. Quick interruption. I just wanted to say that if you are liking it so far, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you are not already a subscriber and you are really loving it, then go ahead and consider becoming a subscriber and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss my videos. And if you know somebody else that will love it, if you would go ahead and send it on to them, that all really helps my channel grow and allows me to keep doing these things. I'm gonna let YouTube know that you actually like my content. All right, guys, we'll get right back to it. As I mentioned earlier, I am participating in this month's 5 Under 5 DIY challenge. The theme this month is Easter decor. It is always hosted by Emily from Farm Charm Chic and Missy from the Crafty Cove. And this month's guest host is Dawn from Designs by Gaddis. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If you have not checked out these 3 ladies, you absolutely need to do so. I got these little bunny egg cups at not Dollar Tree, Dirt Cheap. They originally were a Target dollar spot thing. They were $3. I think I paid $1.80 for them. All right, so here is the Barely Lilac paint that I'm going to use. I really should have coated it with Mod Podge first, or rough sanded it or something, because you will see later I do end up with some issues with the paint wanting to come off. Excuse me. I just think this is such a pretty Easter purple. It's so light and it's just a sweet color. And I like the initial look that I got, but you'll see I kind of had to adapt and overcome in here in a minute. But I just put one coat on there because I'm going to go over it with, no I didn't. Did I put 2 coats? I think I put 2 coats. Anyway, I'm going over it with white wax. Now this is actually clear wax from Waverly, but I put some white chalk paint, Waverly white chalk paint in there to give it more of a white tint, because their white wax is kind of a yellowish color and that's not what I wanted. And I didn't want the clear, I wanted the white. So this is where I start having a problem. When I'm pulling the white wax back off of it, it does start to peel up paint in spots. Now initially I kind of considered just embracing it, because it did give it a very, old, worn kind of look, which is what I was going for. But I gave it some thought and realized that, it's just going to continue to chip off. So I didn't want to do that. And I'm not keeping these. These aren't for myself. I'm actually going to sell them. So, I definitely didn't want someone to buy something from me and then it just to continue to just chip off. So, and there I'm kind of showing you where there were some issues. So I did go ahead and finish putting the white wax on there, and it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I really hated to have to go back and do anything different to it. So what I did here is what I should have done in the first place. I went over it with some Mod Podge, and I did put a decent coat of it on there. I mean, I didn't lay it on like thick, but I did put a decent coat of it on there and made sure I got in all the nooks and crannies and in the crevices and all that. And then I decided that I was going to really give it like a old aged, been sitting outside forever kind of look, and just kind of blotched on some of that princess purple with the sponge. And I like it. It's okay. But it just, again, wasn't the look I was going for. So I went back over it with some of the Barely Lilac, and I just put it on that same sponge that still had the wet, darker purple paint on it, and just kind of blotched that in there, and it lightened up the whole thing overall, which was a little bit better. And then I go back over it with the white wax again. Now this time I did not use the paper towel, I just used the sponge. So I got some white wax on the end, wiped it all over the whole bunnies, and then I pulled it back off with the sponge, which kind of gave it this swiping kind of look, and I actually really liked that. I like the original look better, but I do think these are super pretty, and I just put some Spanish moss and some greenery in there, and I think they're so cute. Okay, so this last one is super simple. I took a Dollar Tree tag, so just $1.25. I'm not going to paint it. I want the wood look, and I do go over it with some Mod Podge just to seal it so that when I stamp on it, the ink doesn't like bleed and completely ruin my image. It worked really well. My stamp was nice and clean and crisp, and no bleeding. So I let that dry, and then I stamp over it with this butterfly stamp set that I had. I don't think it's available anymore. Actually, I know it's not available anymore. I don't remember the brand either. So my initial thought was I was going to do green and purple because those were my Easter colors, but I decided to just go with the purple. So these are Spectrum Noir markers, and they are 3 shades of the same color. They are intended for blending. So when you're coloring with these, you can get a nice blended look and, have shadows and highlights and all that. That's not how I'm using it here. This is way more simple. So I was just doing dots. So I went in first with the darkest color and went in very closely around the butterfly images, just on the outside, none on the inside. And then I go in with the middle purple. And so I blend in a little bit. So I go in a little bit where the darker ones are, and then I go out further from there, and they're spread apart a little bit more. And then I go in with the lightest purple, and again, kind of put some in there with the middle purple, and then spread them out from there, and they are further spread out. They're not as tightly packed together as the other ones. Once I got done doing that, it was pretty, but I felt like the butterflies just completely got lost. So I decided to go in and stamp with a dark purple color. Now, for the gray and the purple, I used VersaFine Clair. This ink is awesome. It's very pigmented. It's very clear, crisp stamps that you get with this. And this was the color Monarch. That still just didn't quite have the look that I wanted. So I do, off screen, off camera, off whatever. Anyway, I didn't get it recorded. I do go in with a white gel marker and highlight some of the interior areas of the butterfly. So all of my so-called coloring, my dots, were on the outside of the butterfly image, and my highlighting, I guess you could say, were on the inside of my image. And that just gave it the right look. That just made it absolutely perfect. I'm glad I added that. So here you can see the highlighting. This isn't the best picture, but you do get the idea. It turned out very, very pretty, I thought. All right, my fellow DIYers. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope that you enjoyed them and that you found some inspiration. And I will see you again next time.